Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. I just got back from the thing. I totally saw Batman v Superman. This is going to be my non-spoilery review. It's such a huge movie that it's probably going to take me a couple other videos to get through all the Easter eggs. In case it wasn't clear, this movie is a direct sequel to Man of Steel. So all the things that happen in that inform what's going on when this movie picks up. So the tone is the same, even the color palette is pretty much the same, but it's not really meant to be a Man of Steel sequel in that it's a Superman sequel. It's really like a DC movie sequel because it feels like almost 4 movies crammed into one movie. And as awesome as that is, there are a few times when that hurts the film just a little bit. It suffers from some of the same problems that Avengers Age of Ultron did. Very fun film, but there's just so much stuff going on that every once in a while a few character moments have to get sacrificed in order to service some other character's storyline. And I definitely walked away feeling like they serviced the Batman character in the best possible way. You will definitely walk away from this being crazy excited for Wonder Woman in the first Batman solo film. I feel like Zack Snyder would make a really good Batman solo film, but I don't think that he's going to be directing DC movies after Justice League. They're actually getting ready to shoot that in April, like wheels up in April for big, crazy Justice League Part 1. And sure, there are a few things that I can't really talk about because this is a non-spoilery review that lead into that first film. But suffice to say, even given the gritty tone of the film, you will see full-blown Justice League like you have read in the comics when we get to that film. So I feel like a lot of people going into this film will come away feeling like they saw a Justice League film, even though that's not really meant to be the case. It's more of a hard intro to the new Ben Affleck Batman character, soft intro to Wonder Woman. And I can actually say, without getting into spoilers, that Ben Affleck completely nails an awesome version of Bruce Wayne. Now, depending on which era of the comics you're reading, Batman is a little bit different. His personality changes, but his core operating beliefs stay relatively the same. And no, the film isn't really patterned after The Dark Knight Returns, the Frank Miller comic. They just borrow a lot of visual references from that. Ben Affleck as Batman feels like he's doing a James Bond film, a really good James Bond film. So even though all the movie versions of Batman, with the exception of Adam West, feel relatively similar in tone, really it's the difference in the Bruce Wayne performance that I feel like makes the character a lot too. And I feel like Ben Affleck's version of Bruce Wayne is the best so far. Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne was a little bit weird. Christian Bale's version of Bruce Wayne was like this very practiced facade, like it was a very fake personality he wore. Ben Affleck does not do that. His Bruce Wayne is 100% authentic. He might be lying to you when he's talking, but it's not like in the theatrical way that Christian Bale would play the character. So that is why I am totally not surprised that when they were seeing footage of this, Warner Brothers executives turned the Batman solo film into a trilogy. They're like, okay, this is so amazing, we have to make 3 of these. So you will totally walk away from this saying, hell yes, Ben Affleck Batman movie, get here faster, please. In addition to that, Wonder Woman, probably one of the best parts of the film, even in the brief parts that she was in. You will be so excited for Wonder Woman after this movie. Now, her movie isn't going to be coming out till June 2017, so we still have a ways to go. Suicide Squad is actually the next movie, but just the way Zack Snyder used her in this movie, in the way they scored her, because she kind of has her own soundtrack, Batman has his own soundtrack, Superman has his own soundtrack, and they weave all those together in a really interesting way. Hers is my favorite. If you were to pick out the Wonder Woman part of the Batman v Superman soundtrack, you could listen to that working out and you would go crazy. Let's talk about the pacing though, because this is a giant film. They have so much to accomplish with Justice League setup and all these other solo films. So I feel like at times that drags the film down just a little bit. Some of the editing choices weren't so hot, like they'd talk about Superman and then they would cut to some completely unrelated scene. So I will give a thumbs down to editing, but I feel like that's largely due to the scope of the film. There's just like so many things that they had to do in this. Imagine if Marvel had tried to go from the first Iron Man film straight to Avengers instead of doing all the other solo films first. That's kind of what DC is doing right now. And I'll say I love the way they leave all the characters. You'll recognize a lot of familiar things with Daredevil Season 2. I don't want to give away Daredevil Season 2 spoilers, but Lex Luthor reminds me a little bit of Wilson Fisk in Daredevil. So once you see Daredevil Season 2, you'll totally understand what I'm talking about. The Superman bits do drag a little in the film, but that's largely due to the way he's used in the film. The way they treat Superman in the film might feel a little awkward to you, especially if you're a big fan of the Christopher Reeve version of the character, or really any of the cartoon or TV versions of the character. But there is a certain narrative consistency with the stuff that happened in Man of Steel. It's just that I feel like the film itself is more in the tone of Batman than being in the tone of what you would think a Superman movie would be like. So that is why I say Zack Snyder would probably make a really good Batman movie. But really, Ben Affleck is going to be directing those Batman films, so I feel like he'll have a lot more authorship than actors that have previously played the character. And Geoff Johns is going to co-write these new Batman films, so I feel like comic book lovers will love the new Batman trilogy, and you'll love this new version of Batman. Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot, awesome. Cannot wait to see that solo film. All the other Justice League members, I will say without giving away spoilers, the way they tease them is actually pretty exciting, so you will be excited about these other versions of characters, especially the Ezra Miller Flash, and once you see him, you'll totally understand why the TV show has absolutely nothing to worry about. TV Flash, movie Flash will be so different that any casual viewer that would see the movie and the TV show wouldn't confuse them at all. So I'll say overall, I give the film a solid B. I give all the Batman stuff in the film a solid A. Wonder Woman, solid A. The Superman stuff I give a B- because it does drag the film down just a little bit. So I'm totally cool with all the choices Zack Snyder made. I totally love the idea of him staying on the franchise as a producer after Justice League, especially after the first Justice League film, as long as he does not touch the Man of Steel sequel. Just let somebody else who really loves the character direct that. I really don't think there's a way to do Superman in a dark, gritty way that still feels like the Superman character. He doesn't have to be campy, he doesn't have to be all sunshine, unicorn, and rainbows. Superman doesn't really work in a Batman film, in the tone of Batman, but I feel like Batman could work in a Superman film, if you guys understand what I'm saying about that. So be sure to go see the film. You will totally recognize some of the really big comic book Easter eggs. And the way they foreshadow the Justice League stuff is totally obvious. You will totally get the references that they're going for. What I'm going to do next is my first spoilery Easter egg video. That should post sometime early tomorrow. Be sure to subscribe to get that. There is a new round of the giveaway too. It's 2 IMAX gift certificates. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. While you guys wait for my next video to post, you can click here for the Flash trailer for next week's episode. They tease some really cool stuff. And you can click here for this week's episode of The Flash and Arrow. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.